transactional. I'm sure as you hear these luminaries speak about it and bring different facets out of the policy, you will realize it is extremely transformational. The intent is very clear. Move from back office operations to global value creation. And this intent is backed by strong leadership and vision to ensure that growth is inclusive, future ready, and spread beyond a few metro towns. This is where Vidarbha comes in. Nagpur is no longer just geographically the center of India. It is strategically a very, very important town. GCC leaders today are not asking, is this location cheap? What they're asking is, can this location scale up for the next 15 and 25 years? Vidarbha can clearly answer these questions. We offer a strong and growing talent pool, of course significantly lower operating costs, enhanced and improved digital and physical infrastructure, strong academic institutions, and a stable, livable environment that will ensure that the talent is retained here. The best GCC locations are not the loudest markets. They're going to be the most reliable markets. Another critical shift that is also underway, GCCs are moving from execution to innovation, from support to strategy, and from delivery to decision. The future GCC will not just follow global strategy, it will help probably define one. This is where Vidarbha has a once-in-a-generation opportunity. But let us be very, very clear. Policy alone will not create value. Value gets created when industry invests with intent, when academia aligns with future skills, when startups integrate into enterprise value chains, and governments act as facilitators and not controllers. This is why platforms like Advantage Vidarbha are so important. They convert policy into pipelines and intent into implementations. Today's panel brings together leaders who understand GCC from policy, enterprise, ecosystem, and execution perspectives. As you listen to this discussion, I invite you to reflect on three questions. What is Maharashtra's GCC policy, and how is it differentiated? How can Vidarbha convert this policy advantage into sustained economic value for all its stakeholders? And how do we ensure GCCs here involve and evolve cost centers into global value creators? I would like to thank the entire Advantage Vidarbha Leadership and Executive Council and our track leaders and organizing teams and all the industry and ecosystem partners who are committed to Vidarbha's growth. Let me leave you with one final line. Policies, of course, will help in attracting the first investments. But ecosystems that get defined will determine the last expansions. Vidarbha is ready for that journey. Thank you very much. I'll leave it short. I'll hand it over to the moderator of the session. Please put your hands together for all the luminaries present here. Over to you.
Thank you, Ajay, for setting us the pitch. So, team, what we'll do over the next few minutes, before we start the panel discussion, as we heard from Ajay, recently Government of Maharashtra has announced the GCC policy. It is having three key pillars. One is economy, how the GCCs can give a boost to the economy. It is not only focusing on Pune and Mumbai, but how it can be more inclusive, how the Nagpur, Nasik, Sambhajinagar, these cities can become another GCC corridor for the globe. Second pillar is strongly about how it creates the employment opportunities in the respective region. and at the same time how it brings the ease of doing business. Before getting into the panel discussion, we will dwell into what the Maharashtra GCC policy is, and there is no other person better than Mr. Dr. Prasad Pradhan, who brings over 3 decades of experience into global banking industry. He is also partner at PwC advising the GCCs. He is also the ex-honorary advisor to the Prime Minister Office, Government of India. So I would request him to take us through quickly, deep diving how the Maharashtra GCC policy is, and then we'll kickstart the discussion. Round of applause for Dr. Pradhan. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Nagpur. Namaskar, Mandari. At the outset, I would like to thank Ajay ji and entire team Advantage Vidarbha for inviting us for such a great gathering where we can feel the vibrance right at the airport itself. And I'm sure at the end of these next 2.5 hours, what Ajay ji just gave the concept, we should have some concrete ideas to make Nagpur as the next GCC hub for the entire Bharatvarsh. I wanted to give actually before getting to the complexity of the policy, I wanted to give this a brief background on the whole, where the GCC started, and I had decided to give the good example of from where I hail from, which is the city group in India. But just few minutes back, I happened to meet आपल्या नागपूरचेच मान्यवर श्रीयुत खर्डीकर साहेब, and when he did inform to me that he was a part of the first BPO, which was for the VOIP, way back in 2000, which is all the way from Y2K, I was amazed to see. So look at the birth of the then GCC, which was way back in 2000 or early days. And from there, where we are today. Ajay ji just mentioned that is, GCC is no more just the back office work or any kind of outsourcing, and exactly that's true. It all began way back. Even I remember during my Citibank days, that is, we used to have a captive of almost around 10,000 people doing the outsourcing work in India, and that same way we got transitioned from the outsourcing work to the one of the largest GCC in India of around 50,000 people. That speaks for itself. That is how the transition has came all the way through. And it is no more just the operational or the back office function. It is all about whole strategic initiatives and innovation happening around. So the GCC journey has come very, very long way. Just to give the perspective, if anybody would have just had the news yesterday, our Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal ji just mentioned the number yesterday in the press conference. That is the current number of GCCs in India is around 1,800 plus. Look at the way the whole progress is. Till the time the slides are on, that's fine. You don't need the slides, but quickly give the context. India, Bharatvarsh has come all the way through that. Thank you. Bharatvarsh has come all the way through. If you see them just quick, because I don't want to get too much of a data, but if you see the whole progress, and the band which we just left bang, the reason is that that's where we are going to spike up. Let's understand the initial days in Bharatvarsh, Maharashtra and Karnataka were the leaders in the GCC. And we have seen the recent years there was stagnancy. Apart from any of the discussions, even if Mumbai is considered as the financial capital of Bharatvarsh, still we have seen there was no growth in the GCC numbers in Maharashtra. Still there was a tendency of going towards south. When we as state realized this, and when the analysis has come in place, we strongly believe there has to be something which needs to be done. While at a central level, Bharatvarsh keep on promoting the GCC as a policy from the FDI and all other required perspective point of view. Every state was given the independence to have their own GCC policies, and there where we saw the competition. Of course, it's a healthy competition, but that's where, under the able leadership of our Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, the need of having our Maharashtra's independent GCC policy was actually got implemented, and as we all know, in November 2025, just around Diwali, we formally launched our GCC policy of Maharashtra. Predominantly, these policies to capture the critical attributes around talent, capex, operational expenditure, overall ease of doing business, and how the real estate is. And I'm glad that is the many of the initiatives for the making this policy has actually conceptualized from this own Nagpur and Vidarbha. While we discuss how the Bharatvarsh has arrived from the GCC perspective, and again especially for the young generation sitting at the back, it may be a slightly complex, and I'm addressing you because I know it's after the lunch this session is there, so I'm ensuring that is nobody going to sleep. But this is something is going to be closest to your heart. This is going to be something which is closest to you, because the genesis of this GCC policy is so humongous. Attraction and getting 400,000 jobs, 400 GCCs. It's a huge objective. And we all can see these jobs are the ones which are going to create your future. So this is just not a theoretical policy which looks like, but it is going to change Gen Z and our generation next, the future. Just not spending much time, but what policy is all about. Let's look at the key attributes. It's very clearly defined. That is where the classification happens on the basis of what's going to be the investment in our state of Maharashtra, how much employability is going to be, how much employment is going to get created. If you see the priority sectors, it's a clear reflection of what vision we had in Maharashtra and how we are now correlating with the recent trade deals which have happened. All these sectors are now actually having the real priority in our recent US and EU deal as well. So it's clearly forward sighting policy. There are incentives which are coming up. Fiscal incentives are quite attractive as compared to the states. We have done analysis against states, and we are way ahead, and we are well competitive in this case. Very clearly, Zone 1, Zone 2 defined. The reason is that already Zone 1 is a mature zone. And as Ajayji rightly mentioned just now, Zone 2 is something where we are now sitting. Vidarbha and Nagpur will have a role to play. This policy has got huge potential for Zone 2, where we can see there is an advantage. The growth engine will sit here. The Tier 1 is already there as a mature model, but the Tier 2, where the growth engine is going to sit. Exclusion and inclusion, if you give it just a look at it, it clearly defines the genesis of the GCCs. It is no more going to be just cost arbitrage or the resource arbitrage. It's no more just outsourcing, no call center business. These are the critical business where it will bring value to the franchise. These are going to be, and these are got to be, the extension of the headquarters of all those MNCs who wants to send business to us. You would have heard yesterday Piyush Goyal was very clearly documenting and mentioning this. We had recent pact with a cluster of EU countries where this whole pact happened for the GCCs with the 6 countries together, which is on the basis of and the philosophy of getting the high skilled jobs and the work as a strategy and innovation hub in India. I will stop on this slide and just give you just a quick update, and which we will now talk on the panel in detail. But just to give the teaser, this is where the whole GCC is going to look for Nagpur. And last but not least, Maharashtra government is definitely looking for having GCC growth as a priority. It is an industry, and we look forward to have this discussion. May I request Kali Sahib to just take this discussion ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prasadji. Please. Thank you. So Vidarbha has got one more advantage if you have carefully looked at the slide. There was one slide talking about the priority sectors that government of Maharashtra has identified. And if you have been following the last 2 days sessions, Vidarbha has clearly the emerging location or a center for logistics, for food processing, for defense and the renewable energy. So what it means, basically you bring that industry already here. Along with that, you bring the enabling technology and academia also. So that's a beautiful ecosystem advantage Vidarbha has got. With that, we'll move into the panel discussion. I think we are fortunate to have such an exceptional panel bringing the diverse perspective. We just heard Dr. Prasad from the policy lens, how the Maharashtra is shaping up the GCC ecosystem. From the industry leadership, we'll hear from Rajesh, how GCCs create the long-term value. Rajesh brings over 3 decades of experience. Currently, he's heading Northern Trust Corporation, GCC. He's one of the strong leaders. And by education, he's a cost accountant. Can you imagine? He is a cost accountant. One of his colleagues went on leave 2 decades back, and he had to do some technology related stuff, and no looking back, he's a technology leader in front of you. Then we have a Nagpur experience, Vikas, who is an India MD and the managing director, heads the CNR software. They are among the first who started the GCC in Nagpur officially in June 2025. He will bring the perspective of his experience from the Nagpur. From the technology enabler, we have our own Nagpuri Ketan Paithankar, CTO and co-founder of Converge AI, a strong focus on research as well as the one who not only believes but practices giving back to academia. He has dedicated all his Saturday to the academia. And from the consulting side, Chetan, who heads the managing director for the GCC in PwC India, he would bring us how we bring the view of creating a long-term sustainable strategic value. So with that, we will get into the conversation. Maybe to have a continuity, may I request Dr. Prasad to talk about, now we have seen the policy that Maharashtra has unveiled. So what is the advantage for the tier 2 cities like Nagpur? What are the specific benefits that we can draw as a tier 2 city within the Maharashtra and use this as a launch pad for GCC in the region?
Thanks, Amit. And just in continuation of what I did mention about it, it's a clear advantage of a growth engine. This is the place, not just Maharashtra, the Bharatvarsha should see the growth coming in over here. Secondly, which is unsaid, there is a strong political will over here, and which makes a lot of difference, as we all know, to get that Rajashray for any of this execution of the policies. Number 3, we all know how Nagpur has created that ecosystem and the infra to give that comfort to any MNCs or any client who want to set up their shop in India. It is tried and tested. Our Mananiya Gadkari Sahib is well over here. We have seen how the entire infra is happening in and around Nagpur, be it Mian or any other concept. Number 4, Nagpur is anyways becoming a Shaikshanik hub, the academia. Many major institutes, be it IIMs or IT and many other institutes, they are just around. Understand one thing, that is for any successful GCC, and I'm sure, because can actually correlate to that. It is all about your competent, talented human resources. if we have that direct linkage readily available, we know that it's just across nearby, we have now skill university which is getting developed, right? This is exactly we want. That's only where we see the sustainability can happen. And I think Nagpur is very well poised and positioned to just go for this absolutely red carpet. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So we'll move to the value creation in GCC, and we'll hear from Rajesh, a practitioner perspective, how we heard like how the GCC is having a key role. They are becoming a strategic epic center and not the global delivery center only purely from the delivery perspective. So how do you shift the internal headquarter narrative from seeing the India center earlier as a cost saving center to the innovation hub, or having a bigger say in the overall strategy?
At the outset, good afternoon, Nagpur, and thank you, Kaleji. In my perspective, I'll give you two answers. One is a generic answer and then a reality answer. The generic answer is, to create a sustained value, GCC should have the board sponsorship. How many GCCs in India have board sponsorships? That is something that we need to introspect and we need to find. Next is, do we have IPs generated out of here? Intellectual properties. And out of these intellectual properties, how many of them are commercialized? It is good to have an IP and a number and put it on LinkedIn, but how many of them you can generate, benefit articulation and the world respects it? That's the second. Third, COEs, Centers of Excellence. Where are we spending that much amount of investment? GCCs need to spend extraordinary amount of investment in Centers of Excellence. So some GCCs have gained immense maturity over the years in these spaces. But the reality is, today, as I speak, in the boardrooms, AI is literally questioning or giving an opportunity for the board members to answer one question which nobody is able to answer, which is, what is the role of the GCC with the advent of AI? What's the role of the GCC? We already said we are not going to be a cost center. We are now value creators. Now, all the monotonous jobs will be done by AI, let's assume. Now, what is that our people will do as value creators? The reality is, this is my strong personal perspective. We want long-term commitment in terms of economic value, plus we wanted long-term sustenance in terms of employment. Then what we need to do? We need to start investing in creating T-shaped individuals, which means not just in one area of expertise, but multiple area of expertise, so that you have a breadth of expertise and depth in one domain. That is what we need to aim and create, so that the capability, when we say global capability center, the capability is wide and also the depth is established. So that is the fundamental investment we need to do. Continuing your COEs and board membership and sponsorship is the answer. Without that, you will not get the budgets, you will not be able to push things forward. To gain that advantage, you need these three things as I spoke about. Hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. It brings a very interesting perspective, and I'm sure there are a lot of entrepreneurs here who are running their own companies. It would help them to determine what and how the value chain we can bring in. Thank you, Rajesh. Moving on to Vikas, would like to understand your perspective on the Nagpur experience. What factors influence CNR software to start your GCC in Nagpur? And how has been your experience in terms of the quality of delivery, the talent, the innovation, some of the strategy roadmap he mentioned? Would like to hear very candid thoughts from you.
Yeah, sure. First of all, I would like to thank AID and the entire organizing team for having me here. I'm very happy to be part of this panel because I happen to be the person who started the first GCC in Nagpur. Before I answer the question, I want to ensure all of you understand what exactly is the meaning of GCC, Global Capability Center. How is it different from any other company which opens an office here and provides similar services. So Global Capability Center in its simplistic form is an office, an offshore arm which is completely owned by the main company. And in most cases, this main company is either based in the US or in Europe or in some other region. Now, again, before I go to the answer, it's important for you to understand the context. CNR software is collections and recovery software. We have been in the industry for over 40 years. I have been in the company for close to 16 years now. And today I have traveled from Bangalore. Our India head office is in Bangalore. Company's head office is in Virginia, US. Now, Amit is, of course, interested in me to explain why we came to Nagpur. So, when it comes to opening GCC, LinkedIn is full with different posts, and there are like 8 to 10 different cities. For example, if we consider southern region, we have Kochi, Mangaluru, Mysuru, Coimbatore. Then in north we have Jaipur, Chandigarh, Lucknow, Ahmedabad. But you may not know that Nagpur doesn't appear in that list. When we were looking at that, Nagpur was not there. So what made us come here? And Mr. Ajay earlier, when he was addressing all of you, he mentioned one word, which is intent. So the story is 4 years ago, when we wanted to hire some additional members, we opened few positions, and those positions were available for anyone in India at any corner in India. So one of the persons who applied happened to be from Ramdev Baba University. And I'm very happy to tell you his name as well. His name is Sarang. So he applied, he passed through the interview process, and other than him, we had few more in other states. So our experience, especially my experience with him, was wonderful. And from that one person, 4 years ago we started, we trained him and the others. They provided us very good inputs, not only technical capabilities, but very important, the attitude. So there are two things, ability to learn and flexibility to learn. Ability is whether you can learn or not. Flexibility is whether you want to or not. Because you may have learned something in your college, we may not be using it. As long as you have that basic understanding of technology, we can train. So our experience with one person here was wonderful. And then the following year we hired few more, and then the following year few more, and then we were so impressed with the quality, with the talent, that we decided it doesn't matter whether Nagpur's name is there or not, because our experience is good, we will open the center here. And last year in June we opened. And today we have close to 70 staff, which is based out of mostly Nagpur, and some are around Nagpur as well, like 1 hour distance or 2 hour distance. So overall, the intent with which these students performed during their internship and after becoming full-time employee, the way they delivered, the way they took the ownership of the work, that was quite admirable. And that is why we are here.
Yeah, thank you, Vikas. It also brings very interesting point if you observe. Many times we feel we need a blessing, you need somebody senior to start the organization. As he shared his experience, it was an intern who started a journey, and that intern is a brand ambassador for Nagpur or Vidarbha today, right? The way he or she performed, that helped us to start this, and within like 6 months officially starting, almost 30% of CNR headcount is in Nagpur. It is one of the fastest growing. We wish you all the luck. We think it becomes 1,000 very soon in Nagpur.
Yeah. One very important, so that intern is now our UK employee. He works with our UK entity.
Wow. So it's also providing the global opportunities, right? Very beautiful. Now moving to the... Yeah. Correct. Ramdev Baba. Correct. So one alumni sitting next and one sitting next in front of you. So moving to the Ketan, you bring the services industry's perspective. So how these services companies in the region can help GCCs to accelerate their journey and scale, and even if you could talk about some of the example without quoting the customer name.
First of all, I want to thank the AID for inviting me as part of the esteemed panel. Now, I want to state three points here. I really liked what Mr. Pradhan talked about. So, in his presentation, if you see at the I will just set the context, right? So, in his presentation, in the policy that he showcased, you will see that one of the most important points, he also talked about the human resource. So, but there was a point on talent and capex. The first two bullet points which he had in his presentation, right? I think those two are the most important ones. I think as someone who's representing Nagpur, who has a global exposure, who decided to come back and say no to a job in United States and just come back after MS and start a company here. So I think I can tell you with a lot of passion for Nagpur that I think our worry is not the land, our worry is not the stamp duty. I think our worry is not setting up the infrastructure. That will be taken care of. What worries me, which I want to bring to notice is, so let's say if we target to open in Nagpur, I know we now have big operating companies here, Tech Mahindra, Infosys, TCS, which have already opened and they have hired at a very mass level. But still, I want to focus on this point and then I will talk about two more points. One is that, let's say if we target as a city that in next 5 years, which is a very ambitious target, but if you have to bring 10 GCCs which employ 2,000 people each, then we are looking for, very calculation of 20,000 folks to be, let's say, hired. But the caveat here is that if you see GCC, there is a C for capability. So these are open for very specific capabilities. Like for example, when we started pitching GCCs and we were able to talk to customers and even convert couple of them to bring to Nagpur, right, from a global scale. And these are large financial corporations or large manufacturing companies. So what we understood, the C capability, how they looked at us was, we bring a very specific expertise of building AI COEs for them based out of Nagpur, which ship innovation and global deliveries. So this was our biggest learning from the capability side. So if we see the capability side, that is something which worries me, that for that 20,000 folks, right, which are the capabilities which we are looking at, and if you have to generate the 20,000 folks, then keeping it that not all folks are hireable who come out of the college, we are looking at 20,000 multiplied by 4, 80,000 folks to come to Nagpur in the next 5 years if you have to serve 10 GCCs of 2,000 people each. Now out of the 80,000, we can easily bring 30,000 folks out of Nagpur who will be on the senior scale or who have love and passion for Nagpur. But we still have to think about 50,000 folks, how in specific capabilities, capacities, how we will build that talent and the human resources in very specific niche areas, be it of AI, cybersecurity, or some other supply chain software, Kinexis, for example. How would you, and at the same time we are competing also with a city like Indore, which is, is far ahead than us in terms of the sheer number of hireable people that they are, generating. But I think there is a solution to it as well. I think we did two innovative things also in Nagpur. So one is the Skills University that we started, the Maharashtra State Skills University. The beauty of that university is that anyone can take any course sitting anywhere. So that I think is the model which can help us, which is also shown by IIT Madras's BTech program in BSc, that anyone can, get the skills done sitting anywhere and they can get a degree. So we have to do this public, public-private partnership. The second institute that we have in Nagpur set up on this is IIIT. You will see that it's set up on a PPP model where TCS also has some part played in that. So I think the players also have to come, and this is how I think we will solve the problem. Now coming to our experience, like I was saying, that I think what we understood after pitching the GCCs, that, and my colleague is sitting there, we made the pitch together, is what we understood was, so the players, they want very specific capabilities from niche players like us. and what we were able to sell were the AI capabilities to them. So if we concentrate, I think this is our movement, our software movement for India, because if we see the parallel to what China did for manufacturing, which is very well written in a book by Mr. Vijay Gokhale, which I feel every Indian should read before Tiananmen and after Tiananmen. So there was a leader in China, Deng Xiaoping, and he, cusp of history, decided that we are going to convince 50 manufacturers in the US to come to China. This was GCC, nothing but GCC, right? But for manufacturing, and we will convince them to do manufacturing in China, right? Same thing we tried in software, probably not the GCC way, but we still were successful. So I think if we have the same mindset now with the niche capabilities, and if we are able to convince, let's say, all the Fortune 500 companies to come here and open it in tier 2, tier 3 cities, and we, in the PPP model, do the human resources part, I think there is a big play here.
Thank you, Ketan. So moving on to Chetan, who brings the go-to person for PwC for any global companies who plan to start GCC in Nagpur. From your experience advising these global GCCs, what are the key practices and operating model that you think are key takeaways to build long-term sustainable and scalable foundation for any, either a services company who are planning to, support GCC, or GCCs, those who are going to start?
So thank you, Amit. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll just take a minute, let them settle down. So thanks, Amit, for the question, and thanks the team for a humble invitation. It's an honor to be here. The question on GCCs, I think it's important. So let me give you a little background, what I do and where I come from. I today manage a role as a partner in PwC. I take care of most of the GCCs across various sectors, and the work which I do cut across multiple sectors. And the inferences and insights and learning which I'm going to talk about is going to be from the leaders from these GCCs. Not only in Bangalore, I am hailing from Bangalore, but across India. So if you're not aligned with some of the thoughts, you know who to blame. Right? So to start with, there is only one objective when we are talking about GCCs is exponential growth. And all the global organizations, when they're talking about exponential growth, they are also talking about that how we can achieve the exponential growth. So when we talk about cost saving outputs, that can be considered as a growth, but they have to talk about strategic value delivery, and then we are talking about exponential growth. And that's the point which maybe I'll elaborate a little bit more on this. How today the GCCs are looking at exponential growth. They are looking for value-led outputs, right? Most of the global organizations, they are not just execution centers here in India. They are talking about the work which is not only executed, but there are a lot of products and services they are planning to build, right? They're designing the products here, they're building the products here, and they're doing a lot of maintenance work, which becomes so dependent that you have a say when you're talking about any global organization from India. And that's where we are talking about, most of the organizations are talking about exponentially growing, right? And being in whichever city, but exponential growth is the agenda, right? Second, if I talk about most of the organizations today talk about how they can bring the culture and the talent in their own organizations. And culture is very important because we are talking about the work which is going to be done by multiple stakeholders across different territories, and India is best placed. If you talk considering the disruptions we have, whether it's AI, right, whether it's climate change, whether it's any disruptions which today we are worried of, we are very advanced in talking about, lot of these areas. We started, 2 years back talking about these disruptions. So we are well prepared for this. most of the organizations today, they have a strong ecosystem where they are not only, getting the work done, building the capability in India, but they have a strategy on how they are going to do an alliance. They are talking to a lot of startups. They are talking to, top B institutes, engineering colleges here, and building the talent from the scratch. I think I was talking to Vikas, and we both align, Vikas, on that. Most of these organizations today are talking about not a lateral hiring, growing exponentially, but they are talking about how we can well train people who are coming or students who are coming fresh from college to start building them from the start, right? When they come to a corporate industry, right? So this is very important. And I think eventually when we are going to be focusing on that, most of the areas where we are talking about how GCCs are going to be, performing next, we are also building a lot of resilience. We are already doing a lot of, preparation, how we can be more resilient, be it cybersecurity, AI. I think Ketan also mentioned that how we are going to do that. But there are a lot of elements where we are way ahead, and we are, in fact, when we talk about AI, I think the first panel we talked about AI, there are organizations and consulting firms like us. We are talking about how we can make a global framework which can be AI relevant, and we are gold standard. Right, so all these areas are very important, and then we take it to our, global, headquarters. They also support these thoughts, right? The last element which I will definitely discuss is how the governance can be managed, right? If a GCC leader in India has a strong say in the board at the headquarter, everyone is going to listen to you, and they are going to, respect that we are bringing a lot of innovative ideas, we are bringing a lot of capabilities, and that's how I think we are talking about growth, Amit.
Thank you. Very interesting perspective. I know there is another panel after this, so I'll have one question, but to each one of you, only request probably you will have 2 minutes to summarize the answer. So I'll start with Dr. Prasad. You played a key role at Citibank in your earlier stint to when the word digital transformation or GCC was not existing. You started from zero, small team, and today it's a 50,000, strong, big GCC in India. So would like to understand for tier 2 cities, we typically say, there is a hurdle to scale from 500 to 1,000 or cross that barrier. So what do you think, what are the barriers and how we can come out of that, especially tier 2 cities like Nagpur?
A very critical question, and especially from Vidarbha and Nagpur standpoint. The one word or one phrase is that the missing real-time assurance. What does that mean? And I'm sure Rajesh will, support me on that. Any sense site would love to have their shop in low-cost locations. When I say low-cost location, we all discuss about that is how tier 2 cities or tier 3 cities will have definitely the cost effectiveness, right? But the theories are good, the policies are good to see. We all have gone through just this GCC policy also. But what is missing is that how effectively they have been executed, and how are we good enough to give that reassurance back to the send side to attract that business. We have a Maitri portal, but how Maitripurna that portal is, it's a real-time practical challenge. That's point number one. And point number two, which Ketan also mentioned, and I can see all the academicians are sitting over here. My urge is, and when we are talking about the competency, the availability of the real-time talent, that's going to be the mantra for the sustainability and attract. And I will take this opportunity to appeal all the academicians sitting over here. Take a lead, develop those kind of curriculum. Gone those days that is we are going to hire only the business analyst. We need the GCC capable cohort to come straight from the campus. Get into the experiential learning curriculum. In US, it is very effectively done. Right from the first year, the students are getting the direct exposure to the industry. I would urge all the institutes sitting over here should come with this hybrid model where we talk about experiential learning and start developing the curriculum which will make actually the industry ready talent. That's how we can go ahead with that.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Prasad. Moving on to Rajesh, what leadership practices are essential? We talked about some of the key ingredients, right, in terms of the leadership. So, what are those key factors if you are to have embed, let's say, innovation, scale? How do you do that?
I think the leaders should primarily be dynamic, at the same time be very tolerant in this new dynamic world. When I say tolerant, what I mean is you should allow opportunities for people to fail. You should try and fail and then recover faster. Fail and recover faster, because success is not going to be sustained. It's going to be like a flash, then it drops, then again you gain the success back. This is how GCCs are going to see the world in the AI world, because AI is not going to be with just one company. Everybody's got AI, everybody's got the talent, everybody has got the data, the ML learning models and everything. But if you're having everything together, then what is that the winning factor? The winning factor is the business model. And that business model, sustenance, is short term. You will not get it long term. You will get a flash, then it will drop, then again you try once again. It's going to be a game like that, and that's the game we are all going to play. For that, you need to allow people to encourage them to try, fail, recover, try, fail. That's what is the new mantra I would say leadership should follow.
Thank you, Rajesh. Fail fast is key in today's very agile world. I completely agree. So, Vikas, we would like to understand what lessons other firms can understand from you who are looking to, not only start but the scale their operations in Nagpur, especially on the culture side and best delivery practices side. What lessons you learned and what we can learn from you?
Yeah, sure. So I will share one of the highly read books is 7 Habits of the Highly Effective People. One of the habits is begin with the end in mind. So when we started here, we did not start with the intent, okay, let us see how it will work. We did test the water for initial couple of years, but once we made up our mind that yes, the capability is there and now we can build it. So that is where it starts. And how it comes into effect is we have a very well designed, defined, well elaborated training plan. The senior management gets involved in training the interns. It is not only internship. Technically, yes, it's an internship, but we work with them in a way that we see them as our future employees, our partners in the business. As soon as the 6 months are done, they are offered a very good package, and they are also involved in various types of responsible works. So that's very important. Just for the namesake, we can hire and we can show to our management, see, hey, we have another GCC, we are very happy, all these things. No, it doesn't work. What works is whether we are able to produce the outcome. And low cost is not the only thing. If you get something at low cost, but the quality is also less, it doesn't work. So the quality has to be at least of same level that we get in Bangalore. And the cost should be lower. Then it can work. So these are some of the good things which I can share with the companies which want to open the centers here, remain involved. And Dr. Pradhan mentioned earlier, on behalf of Dr. Nitin, I like to answer. Yes. I have visited SIT twice, and I see that they are already putting in lot of efforts and infrastructure in place to train the students who are going to get the industrial exposure. And I'm very happy to have some of his students part of our internship this year. So you will see more and more these things will happen. So please ensure that you keep your intent, keep your aspirations. People here are no less than people in Bangalore.
Thank you. Thank you, because I think we are blessed at Nagpur. If you look at our entire academia ecosystem, symbiosis, Dr. Nitin himself is here, Dr. Maitri from IIM, or Ramdev Baba, YCC, all these leading colleges has, that strong academia and industry relationship. Moving on to Ketan, because your company primarily focuses significantly on data and AI, and obviously for GCC also AI is one of the key enabler. So how do you see the AI-driven solutions have helped GCCs, or they can help GCCs to improve productivity, efficiency gains, and the innovation, do more automation? If you could quick light.
Yeah, so I will just put it in 2 points short of the time. So one is that whenever someone wants to set up a complete capability center, so in order to apply AI, they look at 2 types of use cases mainly. One is for their internal operations where they want to get the efficiency for the processes. So it may be any kind of business process that they want to automate and bring the AI in, and the set up KPIs. And the second area is the customer experience areas where they are looking to innovate and serve their customers, but at the same time have some kind of a ROI calculation. And the challenge here is in both is, one, the enterprises are facing challenge is in order to identify the right AI use cases, they are still not succeeding. Which one should be applied AI, which one not should be applied AI. So 85% of the product use cases, they never see light of the production in AI. And the second one is they're not able to pick up the right KPIs, thus calculate the ROIs on the use cases. So these were the 2 points. But at the end, I would just like to conclude with a slogan that I feel as a nation which we should follow in order to really make this GCC thing successful is think global, but act local, and the nation will take care of itself.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ketan. So, Chetan, the last discussion point in the discussion today, how can GCCs embed sustainability, digital trust and resilience into their strategy so they evolve as a true center of excellence, right? We heard from everybody, execution and excellence is key. So how they embed this in their strategy?
So I think I'll keep it short. So 2 points. One, I think we talked about most of the areas which GCC is supposed to focus. But there is very important aspect of it is two-box leadership approach. None of the organizations today are capable to win the race alone. Simple. They need to have alliances. They need to have large global players to be, stand with them and say that, okay, we are going to be co-build, co-deliver. That is the model all the GCCs are going to be focusing, and we are anyways doing it, right? That's one. Second, we need to have our global leadership, when you talk about GCC leaders, in the board making decisions. If that is not there, it's going to be difficult. But looking at the kind of, exposure we are getting today, and I think most of the GCC leaders who are working with leaders, we have, I think, heard about everyone. We do have that kind of, room in the, a place in the room. We are influencing those decisions which are taken at a global level, and we are making policies, strategic frameworks for next 5 years what global organizations are doing. So we are standing very strong, and that's how we are being resilient.
Thank you, thank you. Can we have a big round of applause for such a fantastic panel? Thank you. All right. Yeah. I think just to quickly take away, so I would say we have a policy in place, we have a top talent available, we have a strong ecosystem also available. So nothing stopping us. I think waqt hamara hai, so let's get on it. And each one of us has an opportunity to be a brand ambassador and do our best. I think that's how we can take it away. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
I'd request everyone to continue sitting here. Please don't leave, because you have another power-packed session coming in. We also have with us here Mr. Sanjay Meena. We also have Mr. Shravan Hardikar. We'll be talking about urban development. And from PwC, we have Mr. Manu Divedi. There's a lot more that is going there. So just be seated. Let me, invite Vinod up. And, after the quick felicitations, we'll get into the second session. So thank you. Thank you. Just be there.
Thank you to all our Extreme panel dignitaries for sharing their valuable insight experience during today's session. And I request Mr. Vinod Tambisar to please welcome and felicitate. As a token of our appreciation, we would love to felicitate our panel dignitaries with mementos. I request Mr. Vinod Tambisar to please felicitate Mr. Chetan Samadhya, Mr. Vikas Sharma and Dr. Prasad Pradhan. Simultaneously, I request Mr. Ajay Kapoor to please welcome and felicitate by the help of mementos to Mr. Rajesh, Mr. Ketan Paitankar and Mr. Amit Kare. Thank you so much. I request all the extreme panelists to please step forward toward the group photograph here. Yes. Arvind sir, please join us on the stage. Thank you. Once again, a very good afternoon, students, entrepreneurs, all the faculty members and the dignitaries. This is Khasdar Audyogik Mahotsav Advantage Vidarbha 2026 in the theme of the empowering growth organized by AID Vidarbha's Mega Industrial Expo, Business Conclave and Investment Summit. Next, we are moving toward the session 2, the panel discussion 3 of the day 3 in the hall C. We are moving toward the topic GCC is creating an enabling urban environment for GCC. And for that, let's put your hands together and welcome today our esteemed panelists on the stage. Please put your hands together and welcome Metropolitan Commissioner Nagpur.